In a sport like mixed martial arts, several intangibles can often determine success, particularly at the highest levels. Sure, years of perfecting one or more fighting styles and becoming a proficient, well-rounded competitor are crucial for those hoping to become successful. That said, there are some things you just can't teach. Natural athleticism, heart, and of course, one's ability to absorb damage are all examples of qualities even the greatest of coaches can't impart on their athletes. So, for this video, we'll be focusing on the last example, the fighter's ability to take a blow. The 10 UFC standouts we're about to discuss have all had their chins tested and failed that test on numerous occasions. As always, if you guys enjoy this video, then please be sure to let me know by leaving a like and subscribing to our channel. Now, without further ado, and ranked in no particular order, let's take a look at 10 of the worst chins in UFC history. Number 10. Alistair Overeem. Alistair the Demolition Man Overeem is an MMA legend who has beaten some of the most notable heavyweights in the business, including Brock Lesnar, Junior Dos Santos, and Fabricio Werdum. However, throughout a career that spanned over 2 decades, the Reem has been quite susceptible to the KO punch. He was famously on the receiving end of one of the most brutal knockouts in UFC history, courtesy of reigning champion Francis Ngannou at UFC 218. Although, to be fair, there aren't many men walking the face of the earth who can withstand the Predator's power. But the Ngannou KO was hardly an outlier when it comes to Overeem. Of his 19 career losses, a whopping 15 have been by way of knockout. Moreover, when looking at his 8 losses in the UFC, all of them have unfortunately ended by either KO or TKO. Following his most recent loss to Alexander Volkov last February, Overeem was released from his UFC contract and, at present time, is currently a free agent. Number 9. Brendan Schaub. At this point, former heavyweight Brendan Schaub is probably better known for hosting his popular podcast, The Fighter and the Kid, than his stint as a professional fighter. Still, the former Ultimate Fighter finalist had a noteworthy career in the UFC, where he won 6 of his 11 fights under the promotion's banner. Unfortunately for Schaub, he was also on the receiving end of some horrific knockout losses. Often, when a fight is ruled a KO or TKO, it involves a referee stoppage or controversy. However, when Brendan Schaub got KO'd, he did it in style and was usually out cold. Roy Nelson, Ben Rothwell, and even Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira, who isn't exactly known for being a knockout artist, have put the renowned podcast host to sleep. In total, 4 of his 5 UFC losses have ended via knockout, all of which came in the first round. After being TKO'd by Travis Brown at UFC 181, Brendan Schaub officially retired in 2015. Number 8. Luke Rockhold. Santa Cruz, California's Luke Rockhold is a former UFC middleweight champion who was widely considered one of the world's best fighters in his prime. His well-rounded skill set helped him defeat several former champions, including Lyoto Machida and Chris Weidman. While he has enjoyed plenty of success in the octagon, the former Strikeforce king has definitely had a tough time remaining conscious in recent years. In fact, Rockhold has been KO'd in 3 of his last 4 bouts. In his most recent tussle with Jan Blachowicz, the California native was unfortunately knocked senseless in highlight reel fashion. Apart from that, Rockhold has also been put away by stars like Michael Bisping, Yoel Romero, and Vitor Belfort. In total, out of Rockhold's 5 career losses, 100% of them have either ended by KO or TKO. And while it's true that Rockhold has faced some formidable strikers, the fact that he's been brutally KO'd with minimal effort has caused many to question his durability. Despite having absorbed some big shots recently, Luke Rockhold is still eager to return to action, though at present time he is not scheduled to compete. Number 7. Andrei Arlovski. Andrei the Pitbull Arlovski is a former UFC heavyweight champion who has fought 52 times in a career that dates back to April of 1999. The Russian has a diverse martial arts background, but often prefers to stand and strike with some of the hardest hitters in the division. The Pitbull's tendency to engage in firefights has frankly produced mixed outcomes. It has also resulted in Arlovski getting put to sleep in dramatic fashion on numerous occasions. Alistair Overeem, Stipe Miocic, Tim Sylvia, Pedro Hizzo, and Rico Rodriguez are just a few of the many fighters that have managed to KO Arlovski. Chin aside, there's no denying that Andrei Arlovski has enjoyed a great deal of longevity in one of the sport's most dangerous divisions. Number 6. Stefan Struve. As the tallest fighter in UFC history, standing over 7 feet, Stefan Struve lives up to his nickname, the Skyscraper. Unfortunately for the Dutch heavyweight, big fighters can also make for big targets. Due to his questionable chin, the Skyscraper wound up being featured in several fighters' highlight reels. His KO losses to Travis Brown and Mark Hunt are particularly hard to watch for many of his fans. In total, of Struve's 13 career losses, 9 have been by either knockout or TKO, with 8 of those occurring in the UFC. After consecutive KO losses to Ben Rothwell and Tai Tuivasa, Stefan Struve decided to call it a career in February of 2021. Number 5. Chuck Liddell. The Iceman Chuck Liddell is a UFC Hall of Famer and former light heavyweight champ who became one of the sport's first mainstream stars. Unlike some of the other entrants on our list, Liddell actually had an excellent chin early in his career. In truth, a big part of his strategy often included taking a punch to dish one out, and it usually worked in his favor. However, as time went on, the cumulative damage appeared to have taken its toll. Toward the end of his UFC run, the once durable legend was getting knocked out left and right. In fact, the Iceman got slept in 5 of his last 7 fights. During that span, Liddell suffered KO losses to fighters like Rashad Evans, Shogun Rua, and Rich Franklin, which prompted his initial retirement. In November of 2018, at 48 years old, Iceman came out of retirement to face his longtime rival Tito Ortiz. Despite beating Ortiz handily in his prime, Liddell would lose the contest via first-round knockout and proceeded to retire from MMA for good. Number 4. Todd Duffy. If the Irish car bomb Todd Duffy is competing, then fans are almost guaranteed to witness a KO. Since making his professional debut in 2007, Duffy has competed in 13 professional bouts, with all but one ending with a knockout. Duffy is a hard-hitting fighter who used his impressive power to put several UFC heavyweights away. That said, he's also been on the receiving end of a few knockouts at the hands of competitors who aren't exactly known for their punching power. At UFC 114, Duffy suffered his first career loss to Mike Rousseau, a fighter with just 4 career knockouts on his record. In 2015, an aging Frank Mir scored a frightening KO win over the Irish car bomb, who was out cold in the center of the octagon, which caused pundits to question the once-touted prospect's chin. While 2 knockout losses isn't normally cause for concern, the fact that he suffered those defeats at the hands of fighters who aren't elite strikers, combined with the fact that they both put Duffy out cold, earned him a spot on this list. Regardless of what side of the KO equation he's on, there's rarely a dull moment when Todd Duffy is in action. Number 3. Jonathan Goulet. Jonathan Goulet is a retired fighter who is known for his ever-changing hair colors. The French-Canadian welterweight's UFC run was mostly forgettable, with one very notable exception. At UFC Fight Night 3, Goulet was on the wrong side of history when he was put away by Duane Ludwig in just 6 seconds. Ludwig's KO victory was the fastest in UFC history at the time, though it would eventually be broken by Jorge Masvidal several years later. Apart from having been the victim of one of the fastest knockouts ever recorded, Goulet was also known for having one of the worst chins in MMA. Out of his 5 UFC losses, 4 were via knockout, with 3 of those ending in the first round. On top of that, out of his 12 career defeats, Goulet has been knocked out in 10 of those contests, which means 83% of his losses have come by way of either KO or TKO. Number 2. James Vick. From 2017 to 2018, James the Texecutioner Vick was on the verge of title contention after winning 4 consecutive bouts and sporting an impressive 13-1 professional record. However, despite still being in his early 30s, Vick's chin began to fail him rather dramatically. After suffering a devastating knockout loss to Justin Gaethje in August of 2018, the Texecutioner suffered a series of setbacks that ultimately led to his retirement. After the Gaethje fight, Vick would lose his next 3 contests, 2 of which resulted in brutal knockouts. In fact, during his fight with Nico Price, Vick became just the 2nd fighter in UFC history to be knocked out by an upkick. As a result, he went from being a fringe title contender to being released from the promotion in a relatively short time. In total, out of his 5 losses in the UFC, 4 of those ended as a result of a knockout. In January of 2021, Vick competed for a smaller organization where he was unfortunately knocked out inside of 2 rounds. Following the loss, James Vick decided to hang up his gloves for good. Number 1. Mike Pyle. Mike Quicksand Pyle is a former WEC champ who is something of an underrated welterweight in his prime. Sadly, many fans only remember Quicksand's UFC stint where he was knocked out several times, particularly toward the end of his run with the promotion. Of his 9 losses in the Ultimate Fighting Championship, 7 of them ended via knockout. Arguably his most memorable knockout loss came at the hands of Alex Garcia, who landed a vicious overhand right that bounced Pyle's head off the canvas. During his UFC tenure, Mike Pyle was also finished by fighters like Matt Brown, Rory McDonald, and Jake Ellenberger. While he isn't known for his iron chin, he is the proud owner of one of the best mullets the sport has ever seen. As always, if you guys enjoyed the video, please be sure to let me know by leaving a like and subscribing to our channel. Apart from that, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.